Hello my friends, this is Amner Hunter from amnerhunter.com. Happy to spend some time with you on this video. This time around, I want to share with you one free VST plugin alternative to the popular and well-known plugin Soothe 2 by the company Oek Sound. Soothe 2 is a dynamic resonant suppressor. It combines equalization with compression, but behind the scenes it also has artificial intelligence that identifies unwanted frequencies in any source of sound in a very easy and simple way and with tons of control. This plugin has become sort of like the magic pill in the music industry and music producers around the world. This plugin costs $219, so in case that you don't have this amount of money to buy this plugin, I think this one can be a very cool free alternative. This is the Vastaus plugin by the company Wave Growth. In this video, I want to share with you my thoughts. Also, I want to share with you the approach and process that I followed to get results close to Soothe 2. In this video, I am going to walk you through the features of both of these plugins. Also, I'm going to test these plugins in action in some elements in a mix individually, and also some before and after tests with both of these plugins engaged and disengaged, so that you can hear the difference between these plugins and what they can help you achieve on your mixes. As usual, all of the applicable links are going to be down below in the description and first comment, and don't forget to check out the timestamps as well that I leave you down below. Before we dive deep into the content, my friends, I would like to invite you to my website amnerhunter.com, where I have some cool freebies for you. I have some free PDF guides and ebooks about mixing with free plugins, also productivity hacks in your home studio. Also have some free tools available, a huge collection of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack for rock and metal sound with kicks, snares, toms, cymbals, things like that. And finally, don't forget to check out my blog and this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free resources and content. So now, let's get straight into the video. Let's check out the features first of Soothe 2. This is advertised on the website as a dynamic resonance suppressor. So it combines equalization, compression, but it also has an internal artificial intelligence processing that it's happening behind the scenes that we don't know much about, but it definitely can identify very quickly resonances, mod, sibilance, things like that on different elements of your mix. This is how it looks by default. Let's start with the controls here. Let's start from left to right, top to bottom. Here you have two modes, soft and hard. Soft is more transparent, easier to adjust, and also it reacts better to dynamic material. Hard is more aggressive. The processing, it also reacts more to the material that is entering. This knob depth allows you to process the signal the more you increase this knob. So the higher the number here, it's more processing being applied to the signal. Then you have the sharpness knob. You can see it similar to the Q control on a regular equalizer, where the higher the number, the narrower the frequencies and the peaks. But it also may introduce more artifacts if you push it a lot higher. The selectivity knobs is for the peaks as well. The more you increase the selectivity knob, the more it focuses on the narrower peaks, and the less amount you have here, you're gonna be using it more as a tone shaping tool, more for the overall resonances, not focusing a lot on the individual peaks. I like to leave these two pretty much by default or just increase it a bit here. I don't like the sound increasing these knobs too much. I would say the plugin with the default settings already sounds great. Then we move on to the stereo section. Here we have the modes. We can process the signal in left, right, or in mid side as well. With this percentage, we can link the left and right or mid and side. 100% is the sum of both channels, and 0% the resonances are detected independently. I always leave it at 100%. Here we have a balance knob. This changes how much processing is being applied to the left channel, only left or only right. I leave it always in the center where it says even, so you are applying the same processing to both channels, whether it be left and right or mid and side. Of course, depending on the technique that I am using, but I usually leave it in left and right. Here we have the attack, like a normal compressor, right? How fast the plugin reacts to the resonances. Then we have a release knob, how fast or slow the resonant suppression will be back to default before applying again the processing. Then you have here oversampling option as well. You have up to 4x oversampling, also some more resolution for mastering purposes. You can use this. I always leave it by default. Then you have the sidechain option. You can also listen only what the sidechain is doing. You can turn off and turn on the sidechain here. Then you have a mix control here that allows you to select wet and dry signal. So 50% of the signal is being processed, or 100% by default, and 0% it's completely dry. It's not affecting the signal at all. I always leave it at 100%, depending, of course, on the results that you want to get. Then you have the trim control here in case that you want to compensate any volume that you lose during the processing to level match the input and output of the plugin. The delta button that you have here allows you to listen only what the processing of the Soothe 2 plugin is doing, and the bypass is just to turn off the processing. Very useful that here at the right you have this visual interface where you can see what's going on in the frequency spectrum, where the resonances are being detected by the plugin and where you are going to apply more of that suppression. So this works backwards as a regular equalizer. So the more you increase these bands, the more you're gonna be decreasing or suppressing the resonances that Soothe 2 will find. Of course, you have individual controls for each of these bands. As you see here, you have the frequency, you have the decibels applied to each frequency, you have the Q control as well to make it narrower or wider, and then you have the balance to decide if you affect the sides, the left or the right, or the whole stereo spectrum. I always leave it like that. You have different types of filters here and bands, low shelf, notches, high shelf, regular bands like that. And you can listen to the individual bands by clicking here. So for instance, if you are starting the plugin, I suggest you to all of the bands, leave it flat like this, and the Soothe 2 plugin will find some resonant frequencies or harshness or mod as well in the low mid area. And then we can start applying these bands, turn them on to start reducing or smoothing the sound. I'm gonna use the Soothe 2 plugin in the whole drum kit. I am gonna use also the plugin in the overheads and hi-hats. I am gonna be using also Soothe 2 on the rhythm guitars and also on the vocals. I have the plugin by default. I turned off all of the bands. Let's check this out. It's finding some resonant frequencies here in the high area and also here in the low mid area. And I just went and applied a little bit of processing. You can listen what's going on individually here. It's very, very subtle. Let's check it out in context of the full mix.
caos onde a cegueira te mata, distante do mal que inevitável te ataca. A verdade vira essência dessa rebeldia. De noite, noite, dia, de noite, noite, dia. Eu vou buscar nosso diante da multidão sem medo do revés. Can you see what's coming down? Final throw the breaks the back. Open up your ears. Can you see what's coming here? Move over the monsters of the opera. Open up your ears. Can you see what's coming here? Move over the monsters of the opera. Can you see what's coming down? Final throw the breaks the back.
Now let's take a look at the features of the plugin by the company Wave Grove. This one is called Vastaus. Immediately you notice that this doesn't have the same visual interface as Soothe 2. The part where you are seeing actually what's going on in the frequency spectrum and what is reducing. But anyway, you can use your ears to listen what's going on behind the scenes with this plugin. Let's check out the controls here. You have the input gain to control how much of the signal is getting inside the plugin. Then you have the tame control to reduce the harshness sibilances. So the more you increase this tame knob, the more you are taming or you are reducing harshness in the signal. Here it's at 0. So by default it's here in the middle. This tame control will go in hand with this react control. It will change a bit the processing and it will allow some transients to go through using this control, which also goes hand in hand with the bias control. Here it's by default in the middle. If you start to reduce this or increase this, you're gonna start to introducing a little bit of saturation. So if you happen to reduce a lot with this tame control, with this bias, you can recover a little bit of that high end and also saturation in the high end. That might be pleasant. We're gonna see that more in depth in a moment. Then you have the output gain just to control the overall volume on the way out. This wet control works as a mix knob. All the way to the left it's 0%, so it's completely dry, and all the way to the right is completely wet and the signal affected 100%. Right here in the center is 50%. You have a switch to turn off and turn on the plugin. And lastly, you have these two buttons. This is like the Delta mode in Soothe 2, where you can listen only what the processing is doing. And then you have the oversampling option to 0x, 2x, 4x, and 8x. The moment you put this plugin in any element on your mix, you're gonna notice that it's decreasing a little bit of the high end, some harshness. This plugin can be in individual elements of your mix. Also, it can be in groups or buses, or it also can be on the master bus. I suggest you to use it carefully because you don't have a lot of control and it doesn't have the dynamic processing that Soothe has, right? That compression. Let's start using Vastaus on the all drums group that I have here.
Follows round the burst of back. We take through the streets, our voices will be heard. Open up your ears, can you see what's coming here? Moan over the masses of the oppressed. Can you see what's coming down? Follows round the burst of back. We take through the streets, our voices will be heard. Open up your ears, can you see what's coming here? Moan over the masses of the oppressed. Can you see what's coming down? Follows round the burst of back. We take through the streets, our voices will be heard. Moan over the masses of the oppressed. Can you see what's coming down? Follows round the burst of back. We take through the streets, our voices will be heard. Open up your ears, can you see what's coming here? Moan over the masses of the oppressed. Can you see what's coming down? Follows round the burst of back. We take through the streets, our voices will be heard.
Aos olhos do caos, onde a cegueira te mata, distante do mal que inevitável te ataca. A verdade vira essência dessa rebeldia. De noite, noite, dia, de noite, noite, dia. Eu vou buscar o que é nosso diante da multidão, sem medo do revés. Enfrenta a escuridão, ser racional diante da atitude. De forma rude, a virtude é o coração de ferro que não enferruja.
Please let me know down below in the comments, my friends, what are your thoughts on these plugins? Have you used them? Have you tried them? Do you think Soothe 2 might be the magic pill in the music industry? Have you used the plugin? Let me know also what's your approach when you're dealing with this harshness or these resonant frequencies on your mixes. I will be very glad to read your opinions about this topic. Before we go, my friends, I would like to invite you to my website, unwanted.com, where I have some cool freebies for you. I have some free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players. Also, I have some free tools available, a huge collection of guitar impulses, a drum sample pack for rock and metal sound, and finally, don't forget to check out my blog and this channel, which I'm updating weekly with tons of free content. So thank you very much for watching this video. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it very much. I'll see you very soon on the next one. All right? Take care.